What is going on, everyone? Welcome back to my channel. So in today's video, I'm going to show you how to do an oil change. But we're going to do an oil change a lot simpler, a lot less messier. Now, an oil change is pretty simple to begin with. Drain plug comes out, filter comes out, drain plug goes back in, crush washer if need to be, and the filter, and then you add the oil. That's simple. Nothing to it other than, of course, the steps of jacking the car up and everything. But this one is going to be a little bit even simpler than that. You're going to kind of eliminate that mess of trying to pull the drain plug out and try to dodge your hand or take your hand out before the oil goes all over your hand and everywhere else. And if you don't get the pan in right, you get oil on the floor, things like that. A lot of things that happen. And then, of course, you got the issue of swapping from the catch pan to the oil canister or whatever you're putting it on to take it over to get the oil dumped out or get the oil recycled. So, and then that becomes a mess as well. You can spill it on the floor, so it could be pretty messy. And for most parts, usually my own oil changes, I take it into where I work and have them just do them there because, of course, they got lifts, they got the oil cans, the big canisters for the drums for the oil, and it's just basically, to me, it's cheaper. But I decided to do this on my 4Runner for the simple fact that I probably will be doing most of my oil changes on my own 4Runner, and this little tool or upgrade actually is gonna help with that. What that is gonna be called the Valvomax. Now this says it's Valvomax oil change system. What it is basically, it replaces the existing drain plug. So you take the drain plug out, after the oil is drained, you put this in. On my 4Runner, of course, there is a crush washer that has to be installed on there. So in this case, the crush washer already comes with this. And then when you're doing the oil change, it comes with this little cap right here. Put this in, it's got an actual little ball bearing inside, so when you push this cap in, there is a little valve on that cap, pushes up on this bearing, oil starts to flow through this hose right here, and you can drain it right into your jug or whatever you gotta take it to. In this case, with the last oil change, I didn't save my old oil jug, so I'm gonna be putting it into an empty gallon of juice, but it's gonna be easier. I don't have to transfer afterwards. I don't have to worry about my hand getting all dirty with oil in case and basically trying to position the oil catch pan in the right position or anything like that. It's literally lifting up the car, tightening this cap onto the existing valve, and let the oil flow. So let's go ahead and I'm gonna ramp up the car right now. I'm gonna show you guys exactly how it's done. All right, so when installing this is pretty much what comes in this little packet. You get the actual unit itself, which comes with the cap already on it, so you can basically just go ahead and tighten it down and close it off so it doesn't leak anywhere, so there's no fluid if it's leaking. And even if it does, there is, inside it has this nice little rubber seal on top of that keeps it from any moisture or any oil coming out of there. So it's sealed pretty good even if it was to leak slightly. That's how it comes. And of course you get the crush washer itself with it. All right, so after opening, here's what you get with the whole thing. You get pretty much, this is the cap, this is what's gonna actually drain the oil. So this actually goes right in here. This is your unit. This part goes inside, of course, the oil pan, and this goes over the unit like this. So anytime you're doing an oil change, you just push on this, tighten it all the way, and the oil should start to flow right through this. It's already pre-installed. Now, they come in two different types of material. The cap itself you get in a stainless steel, or you get in this plastic one. I decided to go with the plastic. I didn't want any issues with stainless steel, cross-threading or anything like that. So this is cross-thread plastic, but it's harder to cross-thread the plastic anyways. And of course, the actual unit, and it does come with a crush washer specifically for this vehicle. All right, so to install this, you're gonna have to remove the actual cap. So that's by removing this little gasket here. Cap comes off. You're gonna take a small pick or a little screwdriver, don't damage this grommet, and just like that, pry it over the threads. Now you're gonna do this, the reason you're doing this is to fit the 24mm socket that you're gonna tighten it down with. So once you do that, of course, you put the crush washer here, put this into the oil pan, and I'm gonna show you how to do that right now. Then you can put the rubber grommet back in there, or the rubber seal, plus the cap on there, and you're done with the installation. So I'm gonna do that right now. So to install this, it's very simple. Put the crush washer just like you would with your normal drain plug, tighten it down by hand, and then go ahead and tighten it up. Don't go too tight on it, just you don't wanna tighten the regular crush washer, same thing with this. After that is done, go ahead and reinstall the gasket or the O-ring, and then the cap back on there. And that's it, you're all set. Right, to drain the oil, it's pretty simple. Go ahead and set down your drain bucket or whatever you're gonna drain the oil into. Start the cap on here, and then put the hose into the drain bucket and go ahead and keep twisting the cap until fully seated or until you can't go anymore. Do not over tighten it, and then you'll see the oil start to drain, and then just let it drain. Do the oil filter while you're letting this drain, and that's it. After you're done and it's finished draining, go ahead and give it a quick cleaning, put the cap on, and you are done. All right, so that's pretty much the whole process of this thing. From installing it, very simple, to draining the oil. Yes, you will need the actual drain pan to catch the oil from the little bit that is from the actual oil filter. So you still need that drain pan, but it's a minimal amount of oil anyways. My drain pan actually holds about, or say my drain container, catch container, whatever you want to call it, holds about maybe a good 16 quarts of oil in the thing. So if I wanted to, I could just drain the oil pan oil, leave it in there, and just let it sit there until it gets full, and then drain it some other time. But the whole thing with this, for me, was the ease of basically not having to clean up my hand afterwards. Basically, all it is, again, you just saw, screw the cap on, drain it into the container that you're gonna be using, especially if you have a vehicle that has less than like 5 quarts of oil, 4.5 or 5 quarts. One container is enough. Mine, I need a container and a half, or something like that, because it's 6.6 quarts for this thing. So halfway through the oil change, I gotta kind of unscrew it a little bit just to let it, so I can switch containers, and then I can switch the container and then screw it back on and let it keep draining. But again, while I was draining, I was able to change the oil filter, get that out of the way, put the new oil filter in there, get the oil ready to install or to put back in the engine, and be done with it. And once it's done draining, you just take everything right out. Containers are ready to go. Just seal up the containers, wherever you're putting them. I put them in a juice container, like I said, or the oil containers, and you're good to go. There's none of that trying to pour from one container to the other and trying to catch the oil or spill it, or I know it's happened to everybody out there before. So, but that is it. That is this product. Again, I'm gonna have a link in the description for their website down below, so you can actually go in there and just pick your vehicle, and it tells you if you got it. I also have a link for this specific one for the 4.7 V8 4Runner on the link down there, so you can just go ahead and get it. It's gonna be the same threads and everything else, so very simple to install. I like it. I like how easy it is. Now, one thing I will say to everybody, this is not for every car out there. Some cars that are lower, like the Cadillac, I wouldn't have put this on the Cadillac for the simple fact that even though there's a cover covering the actual oil drain tube, or drain plug, I should say, you could still damage it. It hangs down a lot lower than the actual drain plug does, way lower. In the instance for this vehicle, a lot of people like to lift the car. The car is by itself pretty high up, and the oil pan is far up in there, so it won't hit anything. But if you have a car that's lower to the ground, especially in the city where I live in Chicago, you go over some kind of speed bump or something and you hit this thing, you're gonna pretty much damage it. Same thing if you have a car that you like to do off-roading in, and the oil pan is a little bit lower than normal and there's no protection for it. Just be careful, look at your car, make sure it's right for your car. For mine, it's fine. You have the cross member that goes there, the oil pan's all the way in. The only way this thing's gonna ever get hit is if something actually literally comes up and hits it, but that I would have to be doing some crazy off-roading, which I don't. So for me, city driving, back and forth to work, my beater car, if you wanna call it that, it's perfect. So that's the end of the video. I hope you guys did enjoy the video. If you did, don't forget to hit the thumbs up. That helps me out a lot. Also subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you guys on my next video. Take care.